Welcome to the party. I'm not here right now, but I want you to listen very carefully. These guys are very funny, so pay attention. Enough talk. It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve. My co-host is Pete.
Hello.
This episode we have a special guest host with us. It's David Stokes.
Hello there.
Do you want to give the listeners a little intro to yourself? Tell people who you are.
Yeah, I'm a professional screenwriter from Walsall in the West Midlands. The biggest thing I've basically done, I've done some short films and I've done some rewrite work, but my biggest thing was I had a movie optioned that was going to start shooting in May in America. And so obviously that isn't happening now. So hopefully it'll be at the end of the year. Because we had the cast and everything, and now it's all up in the air. They were really close to shooting. And with some kind of... It's one of those silly things. I can't say who was in it because I've had to sign an NDA. But it was like, it's people you'd know. And and so that's all gone up the Swanee. So
That's going.
Fingers crossed for later.
Yeah.
So at some point later on in the year or next year, it'll all ramp back up. I hope.
Okay.
Crossing everything for you there.
Thank you, sir.
No worries.
So this episode we are talking about a classic film from 1996, The Rock, starring pretty much everyone and their uncle. Directed by Michael Bay, written by David Weisberg and Douglas Cook, who I've looked up and I don't recognise for anything else that they've done.
Double Jeopardy and Criminal, but they're a writing partnership. I think they've only written like 5 or 6 movies. And then there's another writer, Mark Rossner, who I'm assuming is a rewrite credit because he didn't get a story credit. But he's literally written TV, like going back to like V and Crime Story. So it's one of those, maybe a bit like Point Break. It's one of those ones where relatively unknown writers have written something that ends up being a 75 million budget movie, which is rare.
Okay. So how many times have you seen this, Pete and David?
Well, I saw this, I think, this is back in the days when I was a student and I'd walk in the video shop and the guy would go, here you go, and just hand me whatever had come out that week. So I saw it first on VHS and I owned it on VHS. I have also owned it on DVD. I have yet to move to Blu-ray. And I watched this as a digital copy on Sky Cinema. But I've probably seen it 8-9 times, but not for quite some time. And I'd forgotten an awful lot. That's just age. And I'd forgotten about a third of the cast. But like you said, there's so many people in it. Like every 10 minutes, it's like, oh, there's William Forsythe, for example.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I saw it in the cinema, and I would have been about 20, something like that, when it came out. Because I was a big Michael Bay fan, but obviously at that point there'd only been Bad Boys, but I did love Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And I think I had definitely had it on video. I definitely had it on DVD, and now I basically fished out my old DVD to watch last night. But I've probably watched it half a dozen times. But ironically, I only watched it about a month ago, something like that. And then obviously I watched it again last night because it's great. So it didn't bother me at all.
I saw it at the cinema as well. I've probably seen it about half a dozen times. I think I own a copy, but I didn't want to wade through the DVD cupboard, so I just watched it through Sky instead. So that was a joy. But man, this cast, getting a film with this kind of cast today, it would cost you so much money. So much money. I can't even imagine. Like as you said, Pete, the budget was 75 million. It made 300 million at the box office. I think you'd need 150 nowadays to get this cast, if not more.
Maybe more. Because it's Sean Connery at kind of in the latter period of his career, but he's also an exec producer, which probably helped. And obviously, Nicolas Cage. I mean, Ed Harris is is in there. Michael, I always call him Michael Biehn. Bean.
Yes,
is it just Bean? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I should have just said that and not worried about the consequences. Can you edit that? That. Great, thanks. Nope. David Morse, John Spencer, Tony Todd, Bokeem Woodbine, John C. McGinley, Claire Forlani. I say that, and Vanessa Marcel. In fairness, the female characters have a very small amount to do in some very short scenes. It is definitely a testosterone fueled kind of military piece. But I guess this is I don't know if this was the last Simpson Bruckheimer movie before Don Simpson passed away, because it was dedicated to him. I don't know when he died.
He died during the making of it.
Right. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently, I read a story. Apparently, they were trying not to tell Michael Bay, and then Nicolas Cage kind of told Michael Bay accidentally, and kind of went, "Oh, did you know Don's dead?" And he was like, "Huh?" And apparently, that's what happened.
Oh wow! Ooh, I was going to put a crimp on things.
Yeah,
I can imagine Nicolas Cage is not the best person at keeping a secret.
Probably not.
Just a bit of a side, but has everyone seen that entrance that he's done on the Wogan show from back in the day?
Yes.
Oh God, that is so funny. I watch it on a loop sometimes when he's cheering up because he's brilliant. Throwing money, rolling, the karate kicks. He's just off his tits on something.
And he was just
life.
And he was just completely knackered for the rest of the interview. He just couldn't speak.
Nope. What a nutter. Anyway, back to this film.
Yes.
So where shall we start with it?
I quite like the fact that it's got like a pre-titles kind of thing, and you don't see Nicolas Cage for quite a while. You don't see Sean Connery for even longer, and it kind of, what I like about this movie particularly is the strength of its villain, because it sets up Ed Harris's character and the motivation for him. Like, by the time you got the word The Rock comes up and the Hans Zimmer score kicks in, you kind of know, and you're already kind of, it's that age-old thing of like, a good villain is someone you actually can kind of, you don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, but you can see why they're doing it. So I think within like 4 or 5 minutes, with a little bit of exposition, but it's quite well done, you kind of go, I get why he's going to do what he's going to do. Yeah,
that's something that because like normally when you watch it, you just kind of watch it. But last night I was watching it kind of with a filmmaker's eye on it. Yeah. And it is really good the way they do it. It's like the villain, the protagonist is set up in 5 minutes and you know exactly who he is, what he's done and what he wants to do. And then they do the same thing with Nicolas Cage inside of 5 minutes. It's just a shame that it takes them another 50 just to get to Alcatraz after that.
I know. I paused it and I was like, it's been an awfully long time. And I was like, okay, 57 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane. To set up the two main characters, apart from Sean Connery, but the two main characters in less than probably 10 minutes. Yeah. And then the next 40 just setting up the rest of the story and the Sean Connery thing. So, it's insane. I never realised it took so long until I watched it again last night.
This is it. I never thought it was a particularly long film until I got 40 minutes in. I was like, oh man, how much longer is to go? We're not even there yet. And then I had to look at the running time and went, oh, it's only 2 hours 16. And we've had long films. We've had 3 hours, 3.5 hour films. And you'd be on the edge of your seat. I got 40 minutes in. I was like, oh man, can we just get to the prison already? Come on.
It's very strange. It's actually, when you look at it that way, it's quite a strange structure. That it is so front-loaded in a way. But I guess the only thing in its benefit is it does kind of make you care more about Connery's character, and it does make you understand why they end up kind of the buddy cop thing of the bringing them together. But because they're not, it does kind of, I suppose it sets up the stuff with a daughter and makes you realise he's not as bad a guy. I mean, essentially, he's old James Bond in many ways.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Genius. Like
that was
go on.
Oh no, I was going to say that's actually because I was just looking up at like little facts and things about the movie last night, and that's one of the kind of the theories on the internet is that basically he was playing James Bond as an old man. Yeah. That was basically the idea, which is kind of cool. It never even occurred to me, and I was going, that makes sense.
I hadn't until they all were like doing the little mini submarine thing, and I was like, I'm sure, what else have I seen this in? Oh yeah. Like mid-period Bond, so it did start to suddenly. And I think once you start looking at it with that thought in your head, then it becomes more apparent, I guess.
Yeah.
And we know that when they pitched things to Connery in the past, he hasn't got it, so he's turned it down. So they pitched the Matrix to him, and he was like, "I don't get it," and so he didn't take the part. And then they must have just gone to him, it's a rock, it's about this. And he goes, well, what is it? Old James Bond. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. If you can keep it simple and tell him what it's about, he's in. Like, he didn't understand League of Gentlemen, but he thought, well, I passed on that Matrix thing, so I'll do that one instead.
That's such a shame for that to be the latter part of his legacy. It's like, it's an amazing book, but that film, man. Oh.
Yeah,
I've never seen it. Never seen it. I saw the trailer and it was weird. The trailer kind of looked cool to me, and then I saw all the reviews and I was like, no, okay, I won't watch that one.
Bits of it are good. As a whole, it's absolute toilet. But there you go.
I think it doesn't help. It doesn't help if you've read the books. Because I read the books and loved them, and then I'm like, okay, this is just a very loose premise done in a very different way. But yeah, anyway, back to The Rock.
So we have Nicolas Cage, who is a FBI agent and a specialist with chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Yes. And a Beatles vinyl obsessive. I love the fact this feels like, again, someone's gone, right, screenwriting. Hang on a sec. Okay, give the character some kind of quirk so you remember, you know, okay, yes, he's into music and plays his guitar and he's got his vinyl and stuff, which was probably a more of a slightly outlandish thing for the character then. Now it just means he's a bloke at that age. Pretty much. But I think then it was probably a bigger deal to, he's into vinyl and he really knows all the Beatles songs and stuff. But Stanley Goodspeed, Godspeed, Goodspeed.
Yes. Apparently his name was going to be Bill, and Nicolas Cage changed it. He wanted to make it Stanley, not Bill. Apparently so. And it had to go to Sean Connery for approval. But he approved it. Apparently he preferred it to Bill, so everything was okay.
Full of changes to try and press upon the film. That's what Cage goes for.
Yeah, that's what he went through.
It's the small victories. That's what I say.
So, I'd forgotten that this film was very, very long up front. And you get a massive car chase with explosions and, all across San Francisco and all of that. And then it just kind of, not fizzles, but he just stops it just so that he can have a minute with his daughter to kind of talk to her. And then Nicolas Cage is watching and then comes in and helps him out at the end. So that was really weird, a really kind of weird thing to put in the film. And we haven't even got to The Rock.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I thought is it just gave it gives, because I think before this, Mason, is it John Mason, the Sean Connery character, is very suspicious of everybody and everything, as you would be if you'd been kept in prison for 30 years with no trial and made to grow your hair and make grunge jokes. So when I think it's just it helped him realise that Stanley Goodspeed wasn't like the others because he let him have this moment, and I think that's the reason he trusted him. So I think that's why it was in there, but it didn't need that long sequence, especially with lots of stunt people who are really noticeable. If you watch the tram bit, there's an old lady running across the road that is blatantly a guy in a headdress.
Oh man. Yeah, that was done. That was shot after the film was completed. Apparently, after the previews, because if you get rid of that car chase, there's basically no action in the film for an hour.
No, that's true.
Basically, and so I'm assuming Sean Connery always escaped and he always went to his daughter. But I think the car chase was kind of just shoehorned in the middle of it, just to kind of give it an action beat. Because I agree with you. I think that's why he went to his daughter, and that's why you get Nicolas Cage that moment of kind of being quite nice to him, even though he'd just been punched in the face, which is weird. But apparently so. Apparently, all the previews hated it because there was no action in the action film for the first hour.
So rather than trim it down, they made the film even longer.
They made it longer by having a 5-minute car chase.
That's what you should do, right? Okay.
That's what Michael Bay does.
Well, yes.
Yeah. True.
Oh.
Yeah. And we saw a glimpse of Xander Berkeley from 24 and Walking Dead in the early scenes in the laboratory, I believe. I think he was his boss.
I think so, yeah, when they're trying to defuse the bomb that melts the gloves and everything.
And his colleague, I don't know who the actor is, but I know he was the childminder in Jerry Maguire.
Right, okay.
Yes, he was.
Well done, Pete.
Well done, good call.
I literally watched I rewatched Jerry Maguire last week, so that's the reason I know that.
Well, I also noticed one of the FBI agents was Moz from White Collar. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
It was the lawyer. He's the lawyer, actually. He says, I'll, and he walks out, and then they tear up the thing that he's the pardon for John Mason. So there you go. Deep cuts.
So, was this filmed in Alcatraz or just a very good set that looked like Alcatraz? Do we know?
Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Apparently, they wanted to film it in LA, and Michael Bay insisted they were kind of like, take some helicopter shots of Alcatraz, and we'll do the rest of it on the soundstage. And he was like, no, it's got to be Alcatraz because it just nothing looks like it. And amazingly, he got his way, which I think is quite good because he was only on his second film. But it's really Alcatraz. I'd love to go.
I've
been as well.
Awesome.
It's not as big as you think either.
No,
is it not?
No, that scene where they're walking down the Main Street, as they call it. Is that what they call it? Where the cells?
Yeah.
That's not Alcatraz because it's not that big.
Really? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. That's not real. Because you go into the cell and you go, this is quite pokey. and there's like some of the scenes in this film. Oh, obviously a lot of the scenes are ridiculous, but there's that bit where they're pretty much Indiana Jones on a cart rolling underground and all that sort of. And I'm like, Alcatraz isn't that long. You've seen how big the island is.
We're in the bowels. They're in the bowels. There are the way that he goes in. I think about 2/3 of that would still be underwater.
Yeah, you're halfway to San Francisco. You're actually on shore now. The amount of distance you've travelled underwater through the pipes on this cart. I'm like, dude, you've passed Alcatraz. You're in somewhere else now.
I went there in I not remember, which is bad because it was part of my honeymoon, so I should really remember when it was. 2002. So I'd seen this film before, and I thought it was going to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Off the back of this movie. But,
yeah. The other one is probably slightly more accurate. Birdman of Alcatraz with, is it Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. That's slightly more accurate, I think. Well, in lots of ways, to be honest.
Yeah, so it starts with a tour trip. So that was like when I did the tour of it, like a few years after this came out, I was like, oh, but if Ed Harris turns up now, I'm not going to be happy.
They didn't lock us in the cells. That's what we didn't get that when I went. We like to walk in and walk out. That was it, basically.
Yeah, maybe this is why after this film people are like, no, thank you. All right, cheers. I'm not that keen to meet Nicolas Cage.
So we talk about this a lot, that when we see films at the time, we're often quite amazed by them. But then years on with hindsight, the scores tend to usually go down, I would say. But back in the day, can you remember what your first impression was of this?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I still think it's good. Obviously, I don't think it's quite as good as I used to. But I remember, being like walking out the cinema and just probably wanting to just go in and watch it again. Because it was just like, I was really, really, really into action movies. I still am, but I was, anything with action and I would watch. And so it was just, they had a ton of stars in it and it looked really good. It looked like a Tony Scott movie. Yes, basically.
It did.
And I thought it was great at the time.
Similar for me, really. And I remember going, well, there's this Bad Boys film and there's this rock film. This Michael Bay, I think pretty sure he's going to go on to be my favourite filmmaker of all time because, this trajectory is absolutely okay. Yeah. Did I grow out of you, Michael, or did you grow out of me? I don't know.
Yeah.
You couldn't stand the test of time, Pete.
I'd forgotten how many of the kind of slow-mo, stand-up, slowly, kind of John Woo-esque thing which he definitely does in the Bad Boys movies. There's lots of like the shots where they kind of spin around, where the two of them get up. Mm-hmm. And have you both seen the new Bad Boys movie?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So there's a lot that there's kind of almost like not a parody, but they've lent into what would Michael Bay do?
Absolutely,
very much, and they do that a lot in that. But I'd forgotten in this, you get the same thing with Nicolas Cage. You get the moment at the end of the tram thing. I think it's then where he stands up and kind of looks a bit more like he knows what he's doing, which is much too early in the film, really, for that to happen. And then near the end, I think with the chemicals and stuff, he does this kind of slow, kind of stand-up thing. And again, I thought that was amazing and really cool. But again, it was also during my John Woo kind of obsession phase, so I guess it was just like slow-mo. That's what you need to do in action movies. Lots of fast action and then slow it right down.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things like when he did it in like Bad Boys and in The Rock, it was like a really cool shot because no one had really done that. And then he just did it in every single film after that. Every single one, pretty much. He did that low angle, let's rotate around the actor and stand up. And in the end, he's like a parody of himself at this point. I mean, I hate myself for saying it, but I really enjoyed Six Underground, even though I had no idea what was going on for 2.5 hours. Didn't understand it. Nothing.
I absolutely hated it. I felt like at one point I was sure I was having some kind of a seizure because if I blinked or I passed out for 6 seconds, when I came back, the film was somewhere else. And I'm like, hang on, did I just have a seizure? Because I don't know what's going on. And I've been watching the film the entire time.
Yeah,
it was so ridiculously chopped up. The editing.
It's insane.
It's like it was a 4-hour film and they cut it down to 2. And they've just cut out stuff. And I'm like, hang on, there was a good film, maybe. But now it's just a train wreck.
Yeah.
Oh.
The action's great, what you can see of it. I mean, the story's nonsense. But I mean, and I'm a massive Ryan Reynolds fan. I'll watch him anyway.
Yeah, me too. But it stopped with a 14-minute car chase. I typed it. I was like, this is still going on. How long are we at? 8 minutes. Okay, now 12 minutes. Oh, wow, this is the film? When do we get to the real film? No, this is the film. Oh, wow. Wow, this is horrible. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. So for completeness, I haven't seen it, so maybe I should see it.
I've done a 5-minute review, Pete, on the channel. So you can listen to that afterwards.
Okay.
But it's basically me saying that for 5 minutes. It was awful. That was it. But anyway, I loved this film as well back in the day. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, I love this film. Brilliant all-star cast. I saw it at the cinema. I probably wanted to see it again. But back then, I typically didn't revisit films at the cinema. I probably waited for it to come out on DVD. Back in the day, we used to buy DVDs, and everything wasn't digital, and we'd go to HMV or something and get it because it was so good. And the time back then, you didn't notice that it was 2 hours. It was just fantastic.
I think back then as well, I had a real thing for films where there are people back in a room somewhere organising a thing, and other people are off doing something, if that makes sense. So like Under Siege from like 4 years before this has very much, it kind of cuts a lot between, is it Mason Storm running around the boat and then the people in the HQ? This film feels like it starts like that's what's going to happen. So you've got them all kind of, the FBI and everybody else, and they're all kind of the military, kind of making all these decisions. And then the Navy SEALs are kind of wiped out. Then it's the two of them, and you think, well, they're going to be in their ear telling them what to do. But really, they just like, oh, we haven't got a clue what's going on. And at one point they go, yeah, we haven't heard from them for 7 hours. What should we do? And I'm thinking, what have you been doing? You're sitting there playing battleships. What are you doing? 7 hours? I'd never noticed that before. Until, like Dave said, watching it with that kind of, analytical brain on, I was like, well, what have you been doing? Surely there must be a version of the script where they help them in some way and not just go, oh, well, there's 2 people to save all these people. Let's hope it works out. Very odd. But yeah, I did have a thing for that kind of film where there was a Bill run of it. I think what else? Enemy of the State as well. I think a little bit like that, of that kind of thing of
that was great.
People in a place and someone else running around.
I'll tell you what, the thing that got me about The Rock that I'd never noticed before was like his girlfriend. He tells his girlfriend to come to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then he tells her not to, but she goes anyway. And then the next thing you know, she's in the car with some kind of secret service agent. And then the next thing you know, she's like in the middle of the Pentagon with them. Yeah. And it's like, you wouldn't have even got in the doors. They would have sent you home. What are you doing in that building? There's no reason for you to be there at all, except to look a bit sad when you thought you got blown up.
They even say to her, or to him, she can't be a distraction. She's here, but she can't be a distraction.
Yeah.
We're going to go and get her so she can't be a distraction. Oh, yeah, I know. Let's just run around in here. It is. Like I said before, the female characters get like very short shrift here. Like Claire Forlani is a really good actress, and at this time she's been in some really good stuff. She basically appears to kind of go, "Hello, Dad. I don't know you. You're not really my dad." Oh, okay. That's kind of it. And you know, there is a resolution, but for her at the end, but she's not in it. She doesn't get to appear again on camera to actually do anything.
Yeah,
it's weird.
So
I mean, that's the thing that got me about, like, obviously it's meant to have like a happy ending. You know, Sean Connery goes off, Mason goes to live whatever years he's got left, and I'm like, but he doesn't have a country, which means he doesn't really have a name, a passport. He doesn't have anything. This man will be homeless for the rest of his life because he can never apply for a job or a loan or money or anything. He will end up living with his daughter until he dies. So, you know, it was pointless. He got to, you know, live the life that he wanted to live. But I would imagine if, you know, how can I explain it? Like, obviously they was like, oh, he's dead. He got vaporized. And then it's like, yeah, but he isn't actually. He's still out there somewhere. Surely at some point someone's going to find him.
Yeah, and I think, like Nicolas Cage's character gives this kind of look, and I think William Forsythe's character knows that he's alive, but then the other guy kind of looks at him like, what? He's vaporized? There's some heavy-handed comedy moments in this film, although they are very funny. Like the guy who cuts his hair is like straight out of Beverly Hills Cop. It's just like it's like, oh, let's make the camp funny stylish guy, and the only important thing to me is that you like your hair, and it's like it feels so like it's been telegraphed in from another movie. It's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And the Chinese cook, when Sean Connery's running through the Chinese restaurant, and it's like, oh, it's the angry Chinese cook as well. We've got the cat hairdresser, the angry Chinese cook with a cleaver. Yeah, it's nonsense. Yeah. And
the other, there's some ludicrous things in here, like the fact you if you ever want, just everyone, if you've not seen the film, making notes at home, and you're thinking of escaping from a prison or some difficult situation in your life, order the FBI a large amount of room service.
Yeah,
because he basically distracts them with the concept of food.
Yeah.
Which just feels really bizarre. They're also, you know, sometimes when we rewatching things, you kind of look at script like things. I'm not going to say plot holes because that phrase is so overused, but think like dangled carrots that you never kind of get to the end of. So, because I think the fact he's at the start talking about the Beatles, then he makes the grunge gag, and there's a few things he talks about like vinyl records and stuff. You're like, oh, okay. Stanley Goodspeed is a guy who's into his music. And then when they talk about how Mason met the mother, that was at a Led Zeppelin concert. And I'm thinking, okay, at some point they're going to join the dots of he likes older music. This guy obviously likes music because he was at this concert, and they're going to make that some kind of link between the two characters as a reason that they get on, but it's never.
No.
I just wanted to go. They go, do you know what? If we just remove these 2 pages where they talk about the Grateful Dead show they both were at, maybe they can drive around in a little truck underground.
Yes.
We want an Indiana Jones moment. Okay, we'll take out the bit about the talking about music, put that in instead. The other thing that, well, there's a lot of things that baffle me about this film now, but these soldiers are, you know, the best of the best. And we know that General Hummel has got everything. He's been everywhere. I love it when he rips apart that guy from the FBI or the chief of White House staff or something. And
the start.
Identify yourself. He says, oh, so-and-so, 33 years old. Okay, when you were 33, I was doing this in Vietnam and blah, blah, blah. But then as it goes on, you think, hang on. So all these other guys are really, really good. Tony Todd, and they're all brilliant. And they get killed by a 72-year-old man and a numpty who works in a lab who's never shot a gun.
Yeah. That becomes more apparent when Sean Connery's character goes to leave, and then suddenly goes off to try and do it on his own, and it's like, they split up near the end, don't they? And it's like, this is starting to get a bit like, this is just relying essentially on blind luck and being the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
At this point.
Definitely. I mean, the thing that got me was that, and again, I never realised it until I watched it again last night, is that Nicolas Cage, if you get rid of the car chase that obviously was never meant to be in the film, he does nothing the entire film that's actiony. He's not heroic. He's just terrified the whole time. He kills the guy in the car. That's the first person he shoots.
That's it.
And then he puts that ball of VX goop in that other guy's mouth. And it's like, literally, that's the 2 things he does in the whole film. And that made him an action star. And it's like, he didn't do anything. Obviously, I think the next film he did after that was Con Air. So obviously, he was. I'll tell you what amazed me. I was looking at his IMDb. The film he did before The Rock was Leaving Las Vegas, and that's incredible to me.
Just got his Oscar.
He wins. Just got his Oscar. Was like, I'm going to do a big dumb action movie next. It's like, respect. That's that's what you're going to do. Brilliant.
But he will, turn up to open an envelope. It seems from any kind of thing.
He will now. I think.
Choices. Yeah. But even back then, some of the choices he made, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
You're just thinking, whoa. Like I remember, is it Raising
Arizona?
Yeah, and he did something like that, and you go, that's really interesting, and I like that.
Brothers.
It's cool and it's quirky, and then he goes and does something really bizarre, and you're just like, why? Why did you do that? What's wrong with you?
It's amazed me the last couple of years I've listened to more interviews with actors and the amount of people they talk about. Alec Baldwin does some really good interviews on his podcast, and he go, so I looked at your history, and like you did this film, I think he was talking to Julianne Moore, you did that film, why did you do that one? So I've always wanted to visit the place it was being filmed. Okay. And what about these ones? Oh, that's kind of where I live, so it means I can see the kids more. And you just go, well, wow. I guess, even at that level, I suppose being in work is still good, and getting your regular amount that you earn is still good. So I guess there are times when maybe Michael Caine probably through most of the 80s and 90s being another test case for that.
Where it's just for how long? Okay. Yes, I'll take that. Yeah, Jaws 47. Okay.
Jaws. Jaws. Oh wow.
Because they filmed. That's it. Because they wanted to go in the Bahamas for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's the only reason he took it. Yeah.
Oh.
But but some of the actors, like the really big ones, will say things like, it's one for me, one for them.
Yeah.
Or they just completely pick and choose. But then what a lot of people kind of forget is there's 80-90% of the other people are just actors who are just working guys. They're just, and girls, I should say, they're just there because it's their job, because they need to pay the bills. Whereas the other people are like, oh yeah, I'll do that because it's close to home. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
What about the craft or the art? Or
exactly,
no. I'll go and talk about it. I'll go and do inside the actor's studio. I'll go and pretend to hone my craft and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, a paycheck or I get to go home on a weekend.
It's interesting that those reasons tend to be said about 20 years after the film comes out and not during the press check.
Of course. Anyway, we strayed a bit. So... This film does have a fair bit of action once they get onto the island. As silly as it is, I liked the fact that the only way they could get in is because Mason knows the route, and all of the blueprints and all the rest of it doesn't work, and it's all in his head. And it's like 72 paces here, and go this, and you have to climb this, and all that kind of stuff.
Roll under the furnace.
Oh, we've got to have some fire. You've got to have that.
Yeah. Why was the furnace even on?
And why was it rolling bits
of
metal? There's no reason to be.
Yeah.
Why? What does the rolling bits of metal do? I don't understand. But it looks cool. We'll put
it looks really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer basically. That's all we need to know.
And he puts his balaclava on right before he goes under it, just to cover the stuntman's face. Because if he gets set on fire, that mask is just melting onto his face. There's no reason for him to do it. It's not fireproof. It's just to cover the stuntman. I thought that was brilliant when I saw it last night.
The things we notice now, or the fact that when he opens the door, it's like that's a really thin metal door because they not have just used a blowtorch and thought of that when they got there and opened it. But anyway, little details. Come on, details. So VX, gas, poison, melting the face, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that we'd seen him already. In the chamber at the start, we'd seen him diffuse something already, so we knew that Goodspeed could actually do what he could do. And I did like the setup of the fact that he wouldn't stab himself in the heart. I don't think I would particularly either, but he wouldn't do that, which meant when he did it later, there was it was a bit of a payoff. But I think you're right. His arc isn't really an arc; it's more a short line. I'm not a hero. I need to be a hero. Okay, I'm a hero. It's but it would be nice if there was a little bit more. I don't know. I'm a sucker for a training montage. They had time at some point to have like Connery giving him some kind of munitions lesson or something that would pay off later. That would have been quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Nicolas Cage's character. because it's so unusual. Because especially coming out of the 80s and everything, everyone was like a super alpha male, and then it's like, yeah, I'm just going to be the coward for 2 hours, and it's like, that's brilliant. He does nothing. It's all down to this pensioner who probably hasn't even walked more than 50 paces in 30 years. And it's like, yeah, I thought it was as much as it's kind of like, well, he doesn't do anything. It's brilliant that he doesn't do anything. It's a really brave thing to do. It's just like, I'm just going to be a coward the whole movie. Brilliant.
And I like the fact that I know it's Nicolas Cage, so you always get like a performance that's up to 11 of some sort, but he maintains it. It's not like one of those things where they set up like a shtick, and then as the action gets more complicated, or he starts to understand how important this is, that he kind of softens off. He's still kind of that slightly annoying arch kind of guy who just says the strangest thing at the strangest moment, right until the last frame, really. Even in the kind of epilogue, running away from the church and getting in his old car, he's still the same guy, which I like. I like the confidence in that. Yeah, I like the confidence of that, because a lot of films will kind of start off with somebody that's he was bumbling, but now he's proficient, or he said the wrong thing, but by the end he's learned tact or whatever. But I like the fact that it was he had learned to be more heroic, but he's still very much himself. I think right the way through the movie.
There's as you said, there's such a huge cast. They don't really get much to do. Like Tony Todd is completely wasted. John C. McGinley doesn't get to do much. The only two of the sort of villains, as you say, in inverted commas, that get to do anything are David Morse and Ed Harris, who you can see.
Good.
I mean, you can see they've got a friendship. You can see they've got a relationship, and some of the lines that they have between the two of them are, very, very testosterone fueled. But there's something there between them. Like as you said, you sympathise with Ed Harris because he's doing it for the money, and he says, he's doing it for the people. And he clearly doesn't actually want to kill anyone because he turns off the missile, and he's not going to do it.
Well, that's the thing that hit me last night. If he hadn't diverted that, the only reason it doesn't actually happen really is because of him.
Yes,
which almost makes much more sense that you saw him first, and he's possibly the character with the biggest story, because he's got a reason to do this thing. He's surrounded himself with people who some kind of believe in this, righting this wrong, but most of them just want the money. And actually, over time, he starts to realise that. He starts to question himself, and then he's the one who steers the missile away. And yes, they stop it from being much, much worse. But it's essentially that thing I said earlier, where they've not heard from anyone for 7 hours, and might do an airstrike. Well, they would have failed, essentially, if the villain hadn't changed his mind, kind of. Yeah. Which is very unusual, particularly in a big Hollywood movie.
Yeah, that hadn't even occurred to me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If he hadn't changed it, it would have killed all of San Francisco, and they still would have blown them up, but the damage was already done at that point. So
yeah, it would have killed like 100,000 people already.
Yeah.
And even though he got shot, Goodspeed asks him, where's the last missile? And if he hadn't told him where it was, he wouldn't have got there in time and be able to defuse it. So he's the one that essentially saves everybody.
Yeah.
And the others, they contribute, but, Mason more than Godspeed. But
I think that's another thing I liked, really, is the fact that their reasoning about these kind of black ops people not getting a military funeral, not getting any payment to their families. They were doing the most risky things around the world secretly. I like that because it gave you the motivation, but also I think the story makers obviously wanted that to be a thing because he's not a typical kind of black hat kind of villain. There are definitely shades in there. But also when the president does the speech before the airstrike, he actually says this is what they've been through is wrong, and it should. He almost acknowledges that there's a reason that they're doing this because which is again is very unusual. It's a film in many ways about the motivations. It's a crazy over-the-top action movie over here, and at the same time it's just kind of this almost exploration of kind of what it means to be working in black ops, which is really bizarre in a way, now that I've said it out loud.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they always say the best villains are the ones who, like, their reason for doing it, that they have a genuine reason for doing it. That it might be insane to someone else, but to them it makes sense. And for him, and like Ed Harris's character, his name escapes me right now, he absolutely has a genuine reason to be doing this. And I love the fact that at the very end, he's like, look, we threatened it. They called our bluff. It's over. It's like he was never going to do anything. He just wanted to scare them to get these men paid, or the families of the men paid. And it didn't work. And he was like, well, that's that then. What we're going to do, you know, that's it. We're done for. And I really like that because he wasn't insane. He had he had a genuine reason for doing it in his mind. I love the fact that he spoke to his dead wife at the beginning as well, because who goes to graveyards when it's not raining in movies ever? So
doesn't happen.
And who talks to the dead people in their head? No one in a movie.
Yeah, never. It's always out loud.
I did like the bit as well earlier when they break through the shower block and they start shooting, and he hasn't wanted them to, and he's just constantly shouting "ceasefire." Yeah, and I think that's where you get the measure of the fact that he's not as bad as you might expect him to be.
Yeah. I liked it also early on when he first calls the kind of the room with all of the people in, and the other guy goes, "Hey Frank, it's just Sal here," and it's just like he's known him probably like 50 years.
Yeah, and
he's like, "Oh, hello." They're just like chatting like as two very old friends. And even when the other guy goes, "Oh, he's a maniac," and he goes, "Son, he's the 4-star general and this, that, and the other." So even though he's on the opposite side, even though General Hummel is, has put them in this situation, it's like, you're going to respect the man, son, for everything he's done for this country. And it's like, fair
definitely.
enough. So he's not your typical villain. So, as you said, Pete, there's some really interesting ideas being touched on, wrapped in a giant explosive ball of a Michael Bay, action movie.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I really I'd forgotten how much I liked Ed Harris until I watched it again last night. I was like, actually, he's brilliant in this.
Yeah. He's
really, really good. And I think my favourite 2 films of his are probably The Rock, possibly State of Grace, but he's not in it a whole lot, if you've ever seen the movie State of Grace. But that and The Abyss. The Rock and The Abyss are my 2 favourite Ed Harris movies. I always get the idea he's a bit of a scary guy to be around on set because he gets angry really quickly. But he's brilliant at what he does. If you see the outtakes for The Rock, he's really angry a lot of the time.
I need to see them. Petrifies. He petrifies me now in Westworld. Absolutely petrifies me.
Yeah, fantastic.
My embarrassing omission is I've never seen The Abyss.
Really?
So good, Pete.
Fantastic.
So good.
Everyone's waiting for a HD version on Blu-ray, aren't they? Yeah, that and True Lies, and neither of them have appeared on Blu-ray yet.
Well, no. But I liked Ed Harris did a film a couple of years ago called Kodachrome, which is a kind of very gentle family road trip movie where him and Jason Sudeikis and Elizabeth Olsen, really good. A very small, low-budget film, and he's cracking in that as well. But you also get the impression that, yes, he would be quite terrifying. But don't forget, later this year we're going to get to see him again in Top Gun Maverick.
Yes, not until December now. It was originally July, I believe, but it's been put back to December.
I hate myself for saying it, but I can't wait to see that. I really can't.
I will have to see it in the cinema.
Yeah, if there's an IMAX version, I have to see it in IMAX because it's going to be insane. It has to be. What will Tom do next to almost kill himself? Fantastic.
Well, they're doing back-to-back Mission Impossible films next.
Yes.
They've been working on that. Hayley Atwell's been practicing and training for 6 months on that until everyone went into lockdown. So
yeah,
that's what they're doing next.
Fantastic.
There you
go. Yeah. I will bring up one thing. What's your least favourite performance in The Rock? For me, it's William Forsythe. It really, honestly, it gets under my skin in a way that it should. It makes me so angry. Yeah. It's like he's in a different film. I hate the way and I love him. I mean, I love him in Out for Justice. It's probably my favourite William Forsythe film ever.
Nice. Good call.
The way he speaks in this film, it's like, it's so acty. And it's just kind of like, dude, really? Is that the choice you made? I mean, really?
I'm gonna guess that William Forsythe is not in your film. Just a little wild guess.
No, he's really not.
I've seen him. I like him. He was in. He's like everybody. I actually finally dropped off of Hawaii 5-0, but he appeared in. Everyone pops up. Even Michael Madsen popped up in that at one point, looking 100. But he popped up in that, and I was like, hey. But I liked him in Out for Justice. A film we did way back when we started the podcast, Stone Cold, which is a film that I adore. And he's very, very good in that. But I know what you mean. He's kind of doing. He's just doing the William Forsythe thing in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bit where he goes, well, at least he got his name right. That's funny. That's a really funny joke when he's going, I'm Stanley Goodspeed. He's like, well, at least he got his name right. Yeah. That's funny, but the rest of it, it's just when he's talking to Sean Connery, it's like I can't imagine like the anger that was seething in Sean Connery if he was talking to him that way. Like when he hits him on the back of the head, even watching it, I was like, he's braver than me. I would not hit Sean Connery on the back of the head, even if I had to, for a film. There's just no way. There's no way.
Pete, who's your least favourite then?
Oh gosh, I don't think I've got a least favourite. Certainly not to the level that you just did.
I'll tell you mine while you think about yours then.
Okay, go on then.
Tony Todd. I love Tony Todd.
Oh, okay.
He's brilliant in just about everything I've seen him in. I love him in Star Trek because even under all the makeup, when they make him a Klingon, which they always do, you know it's him. He's so convincing, and he's just so excellent in that kind of a role. He turns up as someone's brother, and he's a recurring character, and he's so good in many films. But in this, he gets very, very little to do apart from chew the scenery. And there's that one thing with Rocket Man, I hate that soft shit. And I'm like, oh, come on. I know you're better than this, Tony. Come on, dude. I like you. You're better than that. And then they shoot him with a rocket and kill him. I just, him and the guy who plays Captain Fry, those two just annoyed me in this. Like, they just said, how can we get noticed as a cast that's got 30 people? Turn it up to 12. I'm like, no, don't do that.
Definitely. I agree.
Go on, Pete.
Oh, I don't. Maybe John Spencer as Womack, the FBI director. I don't. Yeah. But I don't know if part of it could be just very good acting because he does get under your skin and you just find this kind of smarmy kind of. And maybe it is that. Maybe it's that. But I don't know. It's you've probably picked the two that are genuinely the right answer. But yeah, I think there's just something about him that's a little bit. Yeah, it's weird because tonally the film at times is a little bit all over the shop. So I guess it's the people who are on screen. I mean, let's flip that round then. So in terms of what do you think the best performance is then, guys?
I mean, for me, it's probably Sean Connery because I mean he's basically sleepwalking through it, but it's still Sean Connery in an action movie. It's he's really not trying. He's just Sean Connery. That's all he is. But that's enough for me because he's brilliant.
He finally gets to be someone born in Scotland, which is good.
Yes.
That's good. It's good to know.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
There's a weird link that when I watched this, it suddenly occurred to me of something that when they think he's abandoned them, and then he opens the door and he says, "Welcome to the Rock." And I thought, oh, that rang in my head most recently when I saw Suicide Squad, probably 2 years ago, when Will Smith goes, "We're the bad guys." And I'm like, who are you telling? Who are you talking to? Stop saying it.
It's for the trailer. That's all it's for.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's dreadful. I mean, my favourite joke in the whole film of The Rock is Sean Connery, just after they've almost got blown up and they're in the tunnel, and Nicolas Cage is like, "You're actually enjoying this?" And he's like, "Well, it's better than my normal day, avoiding reading philosophy and avoiding gang rape in the showers, but that's less of a problem these days. I think I'm losing my sex appeal." And it's like, honestly, I still love. It's probably my favourite line in the whole film. I still think it's brilliant.
And it's just a sex appeal. It's just hearing them say that.
Yeah.
And he gets some very funny. He's got a wonderful dry wit because he delivers. Like even just he's a very funny swearer.
Yes.
Some people dropping the F-bomb. I'm like, oh no, but other people, it's the funniest thing in the world. And no, we're going to go back to another film we did right back at the very start of when we started the podcast, Blind Fury. I will still very often say shit, fuck, because in that film it's hilarious. But when you say it to someone who doesn't know, it just seems like you're being very strange. Anyway, sorry, but he drops the F-bomb in a myriad of hilarious ways. So Sean Connery, I think, is amazing in this film, but I think Ed Harris owns this movie because he at times you think, is he going to lean into like the scenery chewing kind of villain thing? But he's not. He's nuanced, and you can almost. I love it when you can see a character thinking. If that makes sense, not thinking of their lines, but you can see them kind of. You can see there's something going on behind his eyes that isn't necessarily what he's saying, and he's almost doing that through the whole film. And like you said before, at the end when the kind of facade drops, and he's like, "Well, yeah, we gave it a go." I believed in that person. He's probably the most rounded character that is less caricature. I kind of went, "Yeah, I actually buy that person exists." If that makes sense.
Yeah, he's brilliant in it. I mean, that's the thing. Is like Sean Connery is probably my favourite character in the film. But I mean, in terms of an actual performance, Ed Harris he beats every single person in that film for me.
Yeah, he does.
Absolutely, he's fantastic in it. Yeah, really.
I mean, David Morse is brilliant too. As this kind of second, I love David Morse in.
Yes,
so good. But yeah, they did. I'd go with Ed Harris too, but. I was quite disappointed. Like, Michael Biehn didn't get more to do in this because he's a good actor too. And one of my favourite films that I don't think we've ever done, Pete. Did we ever do it? Tombstone.
No, we haven't done. I'm aware of your relationship.
It's my favourite Western ever. And Michael Biehn is incredible in that. But then you go back to things like The Terminator, and he's so good in that too.
Did you see that he's been cast in The Mandalorian season 2?
Yes. So I'm looking forward to that.
So, I mean, are we Michael Bay fans? Could you say what your favourite Michael Bay movie is?
Oh.
Mine could be Pain and Gain.
Ooh,
I really like that.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
Probably Bad Boys. I'd probably say.
Actually, yeah, you know what? Pain or Gain or Bad Boys 2, because it's just insane. Bad Boys 2 is just, it's a movie that you can smell the coke on the screen. It's just insanity. No one should be given that much money to make a film that insane. But what would you favourite? I mean, I hated the Transformers movies. Yeah, every single one. I
didn't mind the first one. I watched the second one and thought it was one of the worst things I'd ever seen. I've literally gone no further. I just put a pin in it and went, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Apparently his next film is called Robo-Apocalypse, which I'm assuming has some loose link to that. Maybe he's the robot guy now. I'm not going to say because it might spoil the end of this episode.
Okay. I'd probably say Bad Boys, I think probably my favourite. But as like Pete, early on I thought, I'm going to watch every film this guy ever makes. I'm going to love them. And I just tailed off really quickly.
Yeah. Because it was like, what was after Armageddon? It was Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
What was after Pearl Harbor?
Bad Boys 2.
Oh, Bad Boys 2. So Pearl Harbor, no. I was back on board for Bad Boys 2. When was The Island?
That was next. Yeah. If you skipped the Lionel Richie collection, which is on IMDb, then it was The Island.
Yeah, I'm. No, those are the two that left me just nothing. Pearl Harbor, the Transformers movies, The Island. But the rest of them, despite my better judgment, I've kind of enjoyed all of them.
At some point, I need to watch Armageddon with the Ben Affleck commentary.
Yes.
Apparently, it's one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah, with the commentary, not with just film. I think I've seen it once, and that was enough.
Madness.
Right, it looks like we're kind of tailing towards the end. So are we ready to give this film some scores?
Yeah.
Enough with the yak. What is your score?
Okay. As the guest, do you want to go first, Dave? So 1 to 5, 5 being the max, and no half bags.
Oh, you see. I was just about to say that, yeah.
It's a tough thing.
You see, because 3 doesn't seem fair and 4's too many. So
I hate, this is my dilemma every episode. Yes. I think Steve created the no half bags thing purely to make my life difficult.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say 3, but I think it's better than average. It's definitely better than an average film and an average action film.
Okay, Pete.
Okay, well, this film is ludicrous in many ways. We've kind of picked on a lot of the holes. It's got a decent budget. It's got a brilliant cast. Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris, all doing a great job. I really like it, and I think, I would say this is tied with Bad Boys probably as my favourite Michael Bay movie. I have the same dilemma, but I really enjoyed it watching it again, and I love the fact that it kind of, we said before about Michael Biehn not being in much, I think it tried to make you think if you're watching for the first time, you're expecting this Navy SEAL team to be like aliens or something, that it's going to be about them. But seeing them picked off so early kind of gives you a different movie than you're expecting. And I'm wavering, but I'm actually going to give it 4 bags.
Okay. I think back in the day, I would have given this a full score and just said, "Oh, it's brilliant, it's perfect." But
Same.
Watching it now as a much older person and going 40 minutes in, oh come on, I've got stuff to do. How long does this go on for? You almost feel like you want to put it on double speed just to kind of get to the get the film moving.
No one needs Nicolas Cage on double speed.
That's just like him on coke. So it was ludicrous. It is silly. It is so testosterone at times and quite flag waving. But there are some funny lines. It's an all-star cast. But given compared to other films that we've done in the past, I can't, in good conscience, give it a 4. So I'm going to give it 3. 3 bags. It's a solid film and it's good fun. But yeah, I don't think I need to see it again for another 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah, I won't be watching it again for a while. I've seen it twice now in probably 6 weeks. So that's enough for me now.
Without being sponsored.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. You're done. You don't need to see it for 10 years now.
Yeah, I'm good now. I can throw it away for a bit. I'm good.
I do like the fact that it isn't a franchise. Because even Bad Boys is now on its 3rd and we're going for a 4th movie. And, I've not seen a Fast and Furious film. Maybe they'll be on my tombstone. He never saw a Fast and the Furious movie, despite the fact they made 49 of them. But I just like the fact that in fairness, getting Sean Connery to do another film would have been difficult, but they did leave it kind of open. The story could have had something. Because we've also not talked about the fact that they confirmed the Roswell landing in this movie. Just as a throwaway comment.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I'd completely forgotten. But yeah, and obviously the JFK stuff. But yeah, I like the fact it's a film. It has a start, a long start, a middle and an end, and then that's that, which is rare these days.
It is, yeah. And so saying that its budget was $75 million and it made $335 million worldwide. So it really, as Pete would say, washed its face and then some.
Yeah, watched a few people's faces.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it did really, really well, and obviously, it launched Michael Bay into the stratosphere and so many big actors.
Yeah, a lot of robots.
Sadly, he did.
Yeah.
Never mind. Let's try and end on a positive. So that's it for this episode. Have you seen The Rock? If not, what's wrong with you? Go and watch it and let us know what you thought. Get in touch with us. You can email us, bagsaction@gmail.com. You can come onto the Facebook group there and talk to us about this film and other films and make suggestions for films that we should review in the future. Don't forget to leave us an iTunes review.
Thanks, Dave, for joining us. Where can people find you on the internet?
On the internet, I'm at...
I said it like I was someone's now.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm David Lee at David Lee Stokes on Twitter. I think it's at David Stokes Writer on Instagram. And don't go to my Facebook because I won't add you. It's quite simple. But Twitter and Instagram, by all means, yes.
Excellent. All right, Pete, wrap us up.
Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are.
Good night.
Good night.
You have been listening to Bags of Action. No bullshit. You'd better stick around for the next episode, because if you're lying, I'll be back.